without any support. He dedicated his life to Beyonce and JayZ, and the second that he struggled with health issues, Beyonce fired him and cut him off. Since then, Terry's had to sell his home, and he's emotionally and physically destroyed after dedicating his life to a woman who could care less about him. JayZ has been busy at work because one of his good friends, DJ Vlad, has been trying to expose Rock Nation for paying off police after DJ Vlad claims that JayZ's hush money has run out. So, let's get into it.
Child. Let's get into it.
It's always been really important for musical artists to take care of their staff. We see Beyonce and Taylor Swift going on these mega tours that bring in a lot of money. In some cases, it even boosts the economy of certain countries. So these tours, like the Renaissance Tour, the Eras Tour, they are money-making machines. And you saw Taylor Swift give back to her staff. She gave them hundreds of thousands of dollars in bonuses.
Bonus day is so important because setting a precedent with the Eras Tour is really important to me because people who work on the road, if the tour grosses more, they get more of a bonus. And these people just work so hard and they are the best at what they do. So every single person on the crew, I've handwritten them a note. It took me a couple weeks, but it's fun to write the notes. It's like fun to think about everybody's lives that they're going to go back to and the time off they're going to have and the kids they haven't seen because they've been away from months and making that worthwhile for them. It feels like Christmas morning when you finally get to say thank you. Everybody has the same message on their card, so I was hoping you could open it.
My full gratitude doesn't come from a bank, but here's dollars just to say thanks. Love, Taylor.
He's emotional. Oh my God, do you need a hug?
I thought it pops out.
That's sweet.
As she should, because she made so much money off this tour and she couldn't have done it without them. But when it comes to Beyonce, it looks like she treats her employees differently. This headline reads, "Woman says Beyonce fired her dad over health issues after 20 years of him dedicating his life to her." Now, this is the stuff that gets me really mad because my dad is a small business owner. He's always treated his employees very right, and he takes pride in that. And it's kind of sucky that Beyonce is throwing this man away because his health is struggling. So this TikToker who goes by Mari Cool on the platform said she considered making a video about her family's experience with Beyonce for years, but said she's now at the point where she's like, why not? It is kind of crazy. I feel like ever since Beyonce's husband JayZ was listed in the files, and then Beyonce's mother went and unfollowed him, it just seems like the Knowles family, the Carter Knowles family, is really struggling to get some good PR. That's what I'm saying. Actually, this TikToker shares that her father, Terry Cooley, was one of Beyonce's stage and production managers. And when you are a Beyonce and you have someone like a Terry in your inner circle, you have to hold on to them and take care of them because they're important. The reason why Beyonce looks so good on her tour and on these stages is because the last 20 years, Terry's been there. Terry was let go by Beyonce and her team after he collapsed and had to undergo surgery. Quote, "They decided that he couldn't keep up anymore. Here we are in 2026. My dad has been out of work for a few years. I worry about my dad because he put his heart and soul into Beyonce's career." And if you're wondering, why Taylor Swift is giving these bonuses to her employees, is because they're not constantly employed because these artists aren't always working. Actually, during the pandemic, it looks like Terry had to go and sell their family home because he couldn't afford it. Terry's been there since the Destiny Child days, and he's been working 22 hours a day for Beyonce. And even though Terry had been with Beyonce for over 2 decades, it looks like he never got a severance package or even a get well card. So Terry's not only suffering financially, but emotionally too, because he dedicated his life to this woman who really could care less about him, even though he made her a priority every single day he showed up. Here's a clip from that TikToker sharing their story.
My dad was Beyonce's stage manager and production manager for over 20 years. You can look him up. His name is Terry Cooley. And this is him. This is also him. This was back in 2013. This is a meme that went viral on TikTok, Twitter a long time ago of him. And this is him. And this is actually, I'll link it in the bottom. This is actually a short film that Beyonce had her team make. It's about 2.5 minutes. I encourage you guys to go watch it. It'll really substantiate what I'm about to say. But it was about the work. It's called Mrs. Carter Go for Terry. And it's about the work that my dad did with her and did for over 2 decades. There's usually a couple different stage and production managers, one that designs the stage and controls the design of the stage, and then one who oversees the creation of the stage and the actual show, putting on the show, piecing everything together. And that is my dad. He is the heart and soul behind the Beyonce that you guys know. The diagnosis was essentially that my dad was overworked. And that's not by any fault, particularly of Beyonce or anybody else. My dad's just a really hard worker. My dad worked, 22-hour days when he was on tour, and he'd be on tour for months at a time, traveling the world. So you go from airplane to tour bus to working 24-hour days, setting up, starting, closing down a show, sleeping for 3 hours, and then doing it in another city the next day.
Shout out to that girl because she's just trying her best to stand up for her father against one of the most powerful women in the world. Mari called on her viewers to tag Beyonce and to make things right, to maybe apologize for disregarding Terry's career. One user says, tell him to write a book called Behind the Stage or something like that. Another person added that Beyonce's a business. They should have a retirement package for employees like him. But there are some people who disagree. One person wrote, you walk away with what you earn. That's the downside of passion, and unfortunately, it's the risk you take when you work outside of the traditional business structure. I kind of think that's BS. I do think that artists and people who work on these tours, they are real jobs and they should be treated like equally. They should get benefits as well, especially because the world is very expensive between healthcare and things like that. If you are working as an independent contractor, I don't know if Terry was, that is very difficult to make money on, unless Beyonce's paying you really well. And as you guys can see, she's not paying her employees like Taylor Swift is.
When there's no tours, there's no money. And so during those couple of years during COVID where there were no tours to be had, my dad had to use his savings to pay all my family's bills. That ran out. And so the house that my parents built when I was little and that I grew up in, my parents had to sell it because they didn't have any money. He was elated when he got a job opportunity to go with Beyonce to a hotel opening, if I'm remembering correctly, in Dubai. This was a big deal. This was the first time my dad had gone back out into the field since his injury. He was excited. He missed his work. He needed the money, right? So he goes out to Dubai. He got fired because of his physical state. The team that was working for Beyonce at the time, and mind you, again, my dad has been not only on Beyonce's team, but one of the head people in Beyonce's team for 20 plus years since he was working with us, since she was in Destiny's Child. They decided that he just wasn't keeping up enough because he couldn't walk fast enough and he couldn't move quickly enough, even though, there are plenty of positions that they could have given him where he could sit behind a desk and help design the stage, or maybe not be expected to work 24 hours straight, right? But rather than make accommodations, they made the determination to let him go. They cut him loose and fired him after 20-something years of service, after he gave his health and his body to helping her succeed without so much as a livable or a substantial severance.
I like this comment. It reads, this isn't a Beyonce versus stage manager story. This is a music industry versus the worker story. It's devastating after 20 years and 22-hour days, which is basically modern day servitude to a tour. A person can be cut loose the second their body gives out. Terry Cooley made Beyonce millions. This should be a wake-up call about how we treat behind-the-scenes crew. No severance, no support. That's not just disloyal, that's inhumane. Sending love to the Cooley family. One person wrote on X that Beyonce is the evil billionaire everyone claims Taylor to be. It's astonishing to witness how many people have not only been brainwashed to accept this, but will also defend the very people who seek to exploit their labor. One person writes, I'm sobbing. This is so cruel. This comes down to how we treat people. It's obvious there was a relationship built on trust since Beyonce kept hiring him. Being in the film proves that he was a valuable member of the team, both making him more than a contractor. I would have expected some level of compassion here. But this person wrote online that nobody wants to hear this, but it needs to be said. Terry was a freelance contractor, not an employee. Freelancers don't get severance. That's the deal when you work 1099, which is true. That's how it works in the United States. And it's kind of frustrating. One person says that Terry should have managed his funds and healthcare better being a 1099 employee. This kind of rubs me the wrong way.
I will say this. I know there's so many people in the comments really, really harsh to this girl because they're like, so you're saying Beyonce needs to retire him, and what does Beyonce owe him? I see a young lady who is probably desperate. And not in a sense like, oh my gosh, she's so desperate, but like seeing your loved ones being down and out and they work for someone prominent. I think she may think that, oh my God, he played such a big role into who Beyonce is, that Beyonce would or should care about him. But even though it's a sad situation, I don't think billionaires are morally and ethical people. I think people love Beyonce, but we don't know who Giselle is, who she is as a person. I don't know if she would ever help this man out or not. I know she's probably desperate in her way.
Let's be clear.
Maybe try to use TikTok to get a story. Now, somebody did say in the comments maybe he should write a tell-all book or something about his experience, and that could garner some.
Beyonce didn't even help her little brother. And when I say Beyonce, I'm talking about Solange too. Let's be very clear. Neither one of them. They both have a whole ass brother. And if I'm not mistaken, a little sister too. I don't know about the little sister struggling, but I know a few years back, the little brother was struggling. His mom was. And she said it's $1 billion on the elevator. How you can't just make sure he has a place to live. I'm not saying pay like light bill, phone bill, all that. but just we bought you a $250,000 house in a safe neighborhood so that my brother, I know for sure he could live safely. Everything else is up to you, sis. You got to go, get a job to make sure you can pay your light bill, car note, whatever. Even maybe buy a car, especially when y'all buying $80 million homes. And don't even get me started on however many baby mama or babies alleged. Let me say this. Everything on Chanel's reality is alleged, and it's in my opinion, and it's all for entertainment purposes only. I don't know none of these people, and I wasn't there. But for all JayZ's alleged baby mamas, alleged babies somewhere, just seems a little shady to me. But maybe that's just me. Why does this have to be in the front? I don't know if this is going to be in the live and
money, and I don't think that's a bad idea. I don't know if Beyonce would cut a check to this man because technically he's at will, and I'm not sure if they even built up a close enough relationship for him to get a check. I mean, it looked like it had been some years, and if she was willing to fire him without saying, hey, you can't keep up, we have to fire you, here's a severance check or something out of the kindness of the Beyonce team's heart, I don't imagine it being years later and she's going to do that.
This isn't the first time that Beyonce has been called out for how she treats her employees. This headline says Beyonce's shadiest business venture allegedly paid most female workers $6 a day for working in a sweatshop.
I don't believe that.
This actually goes to Beyonce's clothing brand, Ivy Park, where these employees are supposedly being exploited. No surprise. According to a report from The Things, 2 months after Ivy Park was launched, it was alleged that they used to rely on poverty-stricken people of Sri Lanka to go and create their clothes in a sweatshop. Sounds kind of like Shein. Most of the female workers earned 4.3 pounds a day or $6.17 and could never afford to buy a pair of Ivy Park leggings, which could cost 100 pounds, $144. Crazy that they're making like hundreds of these leggings in an hour, yet they're being paid $6. It actually looks like Beyonce's team tried to defend themselves by later claiming that the minimum wage in Sri Lanka at the time was $2.68. So the fact that they're paying them $6, they should be grateful.
So now that you know that Beyonce is now confirmed a billionaire, are you willing to admit to yourself that she is now a part of the rich that indeed needs to be eaten? Because she, alongside Selena Gomez, are two billionaires who continually get the pass from you guys, as if they're somehow exempt from the same critique that we give to the likes of Jeff Bezos or even Elon Musk. Now, don't get me wrong, I am aware that Beyonce, in comparison, is one of the more ethical billionaires because her wealth largely comes from her creative labor, her brand building, in comparison to her really being in exploitative industries like Elon Musk. But Beyonce's business empire still largely relies on global supply chains, luxury branding, and of course, a large concentration of her wealth that she has absolutely no plan in redistributing anytime soon. And on top of that, any ethical actions that she has taken, if any, is really just selective and voluntary. It's not structural or binding in any sense of the way. But again, this is not to push past her talent. We all know why she's the queen for a reason. But being iconic doesn't automatically make you exempt or doesn't automatically mean that you can accumulate that amount of wealth and still automatically be seen as ethical.
Now let's switch gears because there's another story I wanted to talk to you guys about. It involves DJ Vlad's claims that Roc Nation paid him to frame Tory Lanez in the Meg Thee Stallion case, where he shot her in the foot, yet he claims he did not. DJ Vlad says he was joking after posting a series of claims suggesting that Roc Nation paid him to support Meg Thee Stallion and to frame Tory. He wrote, I have a confession. Roc Nation, JayZ, has been paying me to support Megan. They also paid off the jury members to convict Tory, and they bribed the judge too. JayZ did a verse for his grandson's new album. They paid off Megan's doctor to lie about the bullet fragments, which is huge news. I mean, if this is all a lie, then that's a big win for Tory, but also Megan has been, standing 10 toes down. Sorry to use that pun because the shot in the foot, but she's been saying that Tory did this. Has she been saying this because JayZ's been instructing her to? DJ Vlad said every blogger is on JayZ's payroll. Well, not me. We all got paid with Bitcoin. Now that the price dropped, you'll see a lot of us turning on him. It started with $10K a month. During the trial, it went up to $50K a month. All the payments were in Bitcoin, so they couldn't be tracked. Fascinating to me that DJ Vlad is trying to walk back these major claims that he has made. I don't know why he would make the claims in the first place.
You can call it sarcasm, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but I believe Vlad. So DJ Vlad took to Twitter last night and so-called exposed JayZ and Roc Nation for paying off him, judges, court systems, and everybody in the Megan Thee Stallion case. Not the burst your bubble, Vlad, but a lot of people been knew that. A lot of people been speculating that. A lot of people been saying that. But the only people that were saying it ain't no way was Megan Thee Stallion fans. Tory Lanez's father even said that. Tory Lane's father said everything that DJ Vlad said. And all in the comments, people like, oh, that's sarcasm. That's sarcasm. He didn't mean that. Y'all so gullible. Y'all believe anything. Why would DJ Vlad get on the internet on Valentine's Day and just decide to spill this type of information? He even said the person that did that to Tory Lanez in prison was paid off by JayZ and Rock Nation. We know it's a lie. DJ Vlad also stated that this might be his last post now because he done cracked the hell wide open. This might be his last post. So if he disappeared, we know what happened. I don't know about y'all, but I don't think it was no sarcasm in that.
So DJ Vlad got onto a live stream with a commentator named Sneeko, and he goes on to speak about these allegations that he had made. He went on to clarify that this was sarcasm, that it wasn't real. I don't understand the sarcasm here because he made like 5 different really major claims that would go and overturn a judge's decision. It would make the court case completely invalid. So I don't understand why he would make this up. And it seems like maybe he just said a little bit too much, and now he's trying to backtrack before he gets in trouble. Here's a clip of DJ Vlad on Sneeko's stream.
Hey Vlad, what's going on?
What's good?
How you doing, man? I'm on stream right now, is it okay?
Sure, why not?
Okay, so I saw your tweets about JayZ and Rock Nation. Is everything okay? Are you in a safe spot?
Man, people just do not know sarcasm, do they? It's just sarcasm really just goes over people's heads. It really surprises me.
Okay, so you're trolling.
Of course I'm trolling, man. Hey,
okay, so what's the purpose of this? Is it
changing the verse on the judge's grandson's album? Like,
okay.
How is this not obvious?
Yeah, the timing is strange because now he's getting revealed in the Epstein file. So I'm sure especially a lot of people do see how Tory Lanez is innocent.
I guess, man. Do they really? I mean, he was convicted by 12 jurors. His appeal has been denied.
All right, you're just trolling.
Yeah, man. Look, at the end of the day, we don't exactly know what happened, but when you shoot a woman and she's willing to take a stand and say that person shot me, that is very hard to get over.
Like I said earlier, JayZ and Beyonce have been feeling the heat because his name was mentioned in the files. Pretty much this person accused JayZ of being at Jeffrey Epstein's property with Harvey Weinstein after they were harmed by Harvey. This would have been back in 1996. We don't know much about the accuser here or what had happened. There were clearly no charges pursued in this case, but this person did go and I guess give this tip in regards to Jeffrey Epstein back in 2019. And I can understand why maybe she didn't go to the authorities because we've seen Epstein's connection with the authorities and even Rock Nations, and JayZ has influence over the police. So you're really not safe to go to anyone. And of course, Beyonce's been feeling a lot of this heat, losing 10 million followers on Instagram over her husband's actions. One thing I've noticed is that when people get in trouble, like Diddy, he got in trouble, he changed his name to Puff Daddy, Sean Combs. He's had so many different names. Kanye West, he's changed his name to Yeezy, to Ye. And I feel like these artists know that if they were to change their name, they can kind of make their past go away because people aren't looking it up anymore. There's actually one TikToker who claims that JayZ is doing the same thing by adding an accent onto his name. But I'm just here to say the 2 dots don't do it for me, JayZ.
He has
I still know what you've done.
Guys, JayZ just changed his name on every platform. He's not JayZ anymore. He's now JayZ with the 2 dots over the Y.
That's weird.
We'll get into that. But not only did he put the 2 dots above the Y on every platform, but he also put it over his album cover, which is literally rewriting history. He's going back, editing these album covers. It's that's like scribbling in a history book, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. But guys, we all know JayZ's been a bad man. Well, we don't know because we only know what they give us on the surface. But apparently, this guy was a bad man. According to the Epstein files, his name was in there a lot, and it was not for good things. It was for abduction, awful things. So I'm just being observant here. I find it very conveniently timed that he would change his name and change his identity around such a time when his name is under so much backlash and getting so much heat. What do you guys think he's trying to do here? What is the goal? I mean, everybody still knows who he is. Everybody knows JayZ.
That is so stupid to me. Putting the 2 dots over his name.
What does that even
to try
mean?
To act like he's brand new. Make it make sense. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
Diddy did it 42,000 times. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all think JayZ and Beyonce should have paid that guy? I know he's a contract laborer, so I've been a contract laborer. So you make an agreement that they'll pay you X amount of dollars per visit, per whatever it is, in your contract, and then you don't get to you don't claim any. You have to pay your own taxes because they're not going to take the taxes out. It's a whole big thing. Now, I'm sure whatever I make or have made is probably not as significant as whatever Beyonce's past employee was making on a tour, because they make millions of dollars. Not him, but Beyonce does. So my guess is he was making a few $100,000 a year. That's my guess. But I could be wrong because, like I said, I don't know none of these people. I wasn't there, and it's all alleged, and for entertainment purposes only. But yeah, you're supposed to be, I guess, divvying up your money, saving it, doing whatever it is, because they don't pay like that. But I do think that there should be, if someone works for you, let's just say consecutively for 5 years on a situation like what Beyonce has going on, I do think that that person deserves a salary, and that person should be able to go to the doctor. You know what I mean? Like, I personally feel that way. But I do think contract labor is an easy way to put everything on the employee, because you're not technically an employee. You're just somebody that, works contract work. No different than a day laborer, so to speak. Kind of like that. But if you have somebody working you for 20 years, sis, y'all don't think y'all owe that man nothing? I mean, just my opinion. But anyway, like I said, leave your comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Talk to you soon. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Chanel's Reality. I'm Chanel, and this